Hello and welcome to the special coverage in which we will celebrate with all of you the very special occasion of Eid AlAdha. The Arabic word Eid indicates something that returns and is repeated. While Muslims celebrate, they cannot but remember Eid as a symbol of thanksgiving and joy to Allah the Almighty for giving them a chance and strength to carry out the moral, spiritual, and physical test of Hajj. Stay tuned as we have a lot lined up in this special coverage marking the blessed Eid AlAdha. Welcome back. Because two of the official holidays overlap with the weekend, Friday and Saturday, they will be compensated with additional days off on Monday, June 9th and Tuesday, June 10th. That brings the total to 6 consecutive days off for the public sector employees in Bahrain. It's a welcome break for citizens and residents across the country, providing plenty of time to relax and enjoy local activities. With so many exciting events lined up across the Kingdom of Bahrain during this festive period, there's no shortages of ways to make the most of a long weekend. To celebrate Eid AlAdha, Bahrain Tourism and Exhibitions Authority organized a program filled with festivals and surprises. The festival includes a wide range of activities and events and festivities which are being celebrated in various locations and venues around the kingdom. The season is packed with a huge range of activities and events that everyone can enjoy. And to talk more about that, we are pleased to be joined by Mr. Majeed AlMajed, who is the Director of Business Development and Licensing at Bahrain Tourism and Exhibitions Authority. Hello, how are you doing today?
Very good, thank you, and thank you for having me today.
It's a pleasure to have you. So, we're pretty excited. Could you give us a brief idea of what's going on this Eid AlAdha?
So there's a lot of activities happening and a lot of events happening, but we at the Bahrain Tourism and Exhibition Authority work closely with the private sector and our stakeholders to make sure that we have a full-on calendar happening here in Bahrain. So it's Eid AlAdha, the 6 days you mentioned, and then it's an opener for the summer, school holidays, and that's where we also see a lot of traffic. So it's a kind of a start by Eid AlAdha goes all the way to the end of summer in terms of the activations that we're working on.
Wonderful. So, I imagine you guys are quite busy as well, so there's a lot to look forward to. And like you said, always with the upcoming summer holidays, I feel like that's always a very busy time. Is there anything in particular you think really that everyone enjoying this Eid AlAdha holiday, is there a specific event or anything that we should be on the lookout for?
So there are several events. Some are organized by us, some are organized by the private sector. But if we take an example of the events that are being organized by Beyond Adana Amphitheater, which is a concert for Nabil Shail and Miami at the Exhibition World Bahrain. You've got another event for Asr Hillani happening as well during Eid. The activations that are happening during Eid in the shopping malls, which I think is kind of the perfect location for events happening at this time of the year. Indoors, it's cold, where families can enjoy their time as well. So there are a few activations happening at the shopping malls. We wanted to make sure there's a clear direction when it comes to showcasing some cultural activities and cultural entertainment and bands. So that's something we're pushing as well through the shopping malls as well. So it's a full-on calendar throughout the shopping malls and the events that are being organized by Beyond Adana Amphitheater.
And speaking of cultural activities, is there anything particularly like visitors coming from abroad might want to get involved in, particularly around the Eid AlAdha period?
So Eid AlAdha is quite a busy period for us, especially from visitors that are visiting from the GCC countries. We've seen a huge demand when it comes to their attendance at the shopping malls. So what we did is we made sure that these shopping malls have events that would cater for the family. So it's not specifically for kids, but it's more of kind of a shopping festival with some cultural activities here and there, with some activations for the kids, for them to enjoy their time. So we wanted to make sure that it caters for everyone.
And I noticed you brought up as well earlier that you work quite closely with the private sector. Can you elaborate a bit more on how these partnerships translate into these activities?
So if we take the shopping malls as an example, they have their own full-on calendar throughout the year, and they ensure that they are aligned with our calendar. So we want to make sure that we don't overlap events, we don't conflict with events, but we've seen a huge collaboration between them and us at the authority. We try to ensure that all the events happening in the calendar there's no conflict between them. So just to make sure that they're at the specific time where we need basically to increase the number of activations, especially when the visitors come to Bahrain, which is during Eid. But if I can go past that as well, there's a full-on calendar that is focused on the summer plan as well, which is a continuation of what we're doing for Eid.
Brilliant. And you've mentioned that, for example, we see a lot of people from the GCC coming into Bahrain, particularly during their Eid periods. Could you tell us, is there any data to say, what kind of activities our brothers and sisters from our neighboring GCC countries tend to get involved with the most?
Okay, so what we did is we focused on extensive promotional campaigns, especially at the GCC markets. So we've got several markets that we focus on. Eid was mainly focused on through the GCC market. We've noticed that shopping is the number one. People would want to come for shopping, and visitors would want to come shopping. But I think having the concerts is a great add-on. Having events for the kids is a great add-on. I think Bahrain today is at a stage where we can comfortably, create an event within a space that we have here in Bahrain, and that's where we see a lot of demand on, especially at the shopping malls, I would say.
Absolutely. And for people beyond the GCC, more globally speaking, do you notice any trends with them, particularly during the Eid period? Do they tend to get involved with any particular, for example, cultural events?
Eid, I wouldn't say Eid specifically, but in general, summer. Yes, we've seen quite a good number of visitors that would come to Bahrain, especially Bahrain. The weather is good. They would want to go to, and try out some beach activities, for example, if I take this as an example. So what the private sector, as we're going back to them, what they did is they ensured that there are some beach activities happening in Bahrain, especially the waterfront hotels. And that's what we've seen, especially for the international guests. They would enjoy that a bit more. So what we did is we ensured that these hotels are ready for the season, that we ensured that these hotels have a quite extensive, I would say, agenda and of some activations happening, outdoor activations happening at the beach, for example.
Wonderful. And how do you also cooperate with, for example, local businesses as well? How does that, because obviously I can understand, for example, malls and as well hotels and everything, but do you have any other cooperations, perhaps local businesses, like I mentioned?
So local businesses are very important in our mandate, and it's a mandate that we really focus on. But if we take the packages I mentioned earlier, so we're working with the hotels, we're working with the tour operators, we're working with the tour guides here in Bahrain, as well we're working with our national carrier, Gulf Air. So we want to make sure that we have the right set of packages that we can promote to our international and GCC visitors. So these packages would include, for example, a flight to Bahrain, to include the number of nights you're staying in Bahrain, as well as the concerts and the activities and the events that are happening. So we wanted to make sure that it's a one package where people can, make it easier on our visitors, when it comes to planning their stay here in Bahrain.
Absolutely. I think everyone finds that kind of stressful. I know very few people who go to a destination and immediately know everything they want to do.
Right.
But on that note, let's say hypothetically someone was to specifically visit Bahrain during Eid AlAdha, what would be your recommended 3 activities for one day?
That's a good one. I would say definitely the concerts by Beyond Dana Amphitheater. They're indoors, so it's going to be good for this weather. I would recommend the shopping malls as well. And I would recommend the beach parties that are happening here as well, with the waterfront hotels. And you know, it's more of, I can't be biased to 3 only, but it's more of a whole overall campaign that we're working on. But if we extend that after Eid, we have great summer events happening as well. So we're bringing back the Bahrain Summer Toy Festival. We're bringing back the same activations, however, it's double in capacity, double in space, double in activations. So we've seen a huge demand for these events last year, and we wanted to make sure that we come back bigger this time. There's another event as well that is organized by Beyond Adana Amphitheater, which is Disney on Ice, coming back to Bahrain. We've seen huge demands on that. Tickets are out, so that's where we're targeting, and we're monitoring the ticket sales, for example, and we've seen a huge, inquiries, demands on the tickets as well. So it's a busy season. So I can't specify only three events.
Yeah, no, that was a difficult one, but no, it gave us a great starting point. And now you mentioned that there are events that come back, because I'm sure, like, obviously, the events in Bahrain are incredible, and there isn't an event that I go to where I'm not impressed by how organized everything is, how everything is made for you to get the most out of the experience, right? So I'm sure that you guys, and you've already touched on the fact that there are a lot of demands to bring something back. But you know how most people are. People are usually like, seen it once and then, you know, they're kind of like, okay, I'm impressed. So when you have that challenge of, for example, having to bring back an event, how do you make it bigger and better?
So the first thing we focus on is the type of activations at that specific event. If I take this Bahrain Summer Toy Festival, for example, it was a very well-attended event last year. However, we've seen a huge demand on the tickets that were sold per day. So what we decided to do this year is make it bigger, but at the same time, I don't want to repeat the same activations I did last year. So what we did is we introduced new shows, we introduced new concerts within the festival. We've introduced additional, so we're kind of repeating the top activations that happened last year at the festival, but we're adding more to that. So I said it's more, when it comes to capacity, it's double what we had last year. So we'll definitely have to include more. There's a huge part for our support towards locals, and that's what we're basically doing when it comes to the volunteers and you know, employees that help us at the festival. The vendors that we've noticed have been, you know, once we announced that we're doing the Bahrain Summer Toy Festival, vendors started, you know, applying to be part of that. So that's another way for us to show our support towards the local businesses here in Bahrain.
And speaking actually of supporting locals, because I've noticed, I've been at quite a lot of events and people are very eager to volunteer, and they go all out for them, right? And they're incredible, they're very professional, they're very hands-on. By any chance, is there any trend? Do you see an uptick, for example, of volunteers during Eid?
So volunteers in general in Bahrain, whenever we announce an event or whenever we announce the preparation of an event and we ask for volunteers, you know, we just can't keep up with the numbers we receive, and which is something really nice when you see local Bahrainis that want to be part of such an event.
It's a good problem to have.
It's a fantastic problem to have, and you know, we want to make sure that we use every single application, and we want to use every single volunteer and make sure that we involve them in our events, because the success of our events would happen through them. So we're starting hopefully with the Bahrain Summer Toy Festival, but it's a full-on calendar till end of the year. So we'll make sure that they're always part of our events.
You know, it's really incredible to see not only are you giving them an opportunity, but they were very keen to help as well. And particularly, I imagine the BTEA really appreciates that, particularly during busy periods like this. Because, I mean, Eid AlAdha has, I imagine, and again, with such a long weekend as well, I think a lot of people are going to be flocking to venues to look for something to do. And what message would you like to send to the tourists and residents who are going to be getting busy with all of the events that you have going on? Is there any words of encouragement that you might like to give to them?
So if I would start with encouragement might not be the right word for me, but I would say, first of all, check out our calendar. We keep updating our calendar on a monthly basis. You can get full access to our calendar through calendar.bh on Instagram. But there's a lot of things happening. So come, experience Bahrain, enjoy your time, enjoy the beaches, enjoy the shopping malls, enjoy the events that are happening, enjoy the concerts that we're working on. So there's a full-on program for you guys to come.
You know, throughout this entire conversation, I feel like you can kind of see the calendar in your head, right? And I think that that's a brilliant thing. I mean, I imagine it's very overwhelming when you're working behind the scenes, but also very rewarding to see all of this come to fruition. And at the risk of this being a very vague question, but since Bahrain has thankfully been developing across all sectors, and obviously tourism and exhibitions will benefit greatly from that and is a part of it. How do you see tourism going in the next, let's say, 3 years or so?
So we, at the tourism strategy, we focus basically on ensuring that we have a full-on calendar. Make sure that there are the right set of events happening at the right time. Exhibition World Bahrain is doing a fantastic job when it comes to attracting exhibitions in Bahrain. The hotels are doing another fantastic job as well when it comes to them attracting the right set of visitors. But we want to make sure that we are all aligned. So our role mainly is to ensure that us, the BTA, hotels, Exhibition World Bahrain, the tour operators, the tour guides here in Bahrain are all aligned to ensure that we have one message, to ensure that we have a calendar that we want to build more on. So that's the main message.
It's really wonderful to see the way that you work with your partners and everything to make everything possible. Not only, I'm sure BTEA as like an entity, as a team, but also with the other entities. And like you said, having that shared message, those shared values in order to provide so much enrichment to the kingdom. Any last words?
So I would go back to the calendar.bh. You'll be able to find all the events that are happening. And we welcome everyone to enjoy our beautiful island. So something worth mentioning as well, we've noticed staycation numbers are going higher as well. So the locals, we've seen a shift from locals when it comes to them enjoying the hotels here in Bahrain, enjoying the events here in Bahrain. So the message is for our locals, for those who live in Bahrain, and for our visitors, basically.
Absolutely. I think staycations are very underrated, so it's very good to see that it's still alive and thriving in the Kingdom of Bahrain.
It's picking up more and more now.
Well, I mean, thankfully we have all of the facilities, so we might as well use them, right?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Thank you so much for joining us on this talk. It was a pleasure to have you, and we hope you have a wonderful
Pleasure is all mine, and thank you for having me here today.
You're very welcome. Thank you so much again. Ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, there are a lot of events around the Kingdom of Bahrain for you to take full advantage of during this long holiday. Stay tuned, and we'll be back with more. This brings us to the end of the special coverage marking Eid AlAdha, the blessed occasion. Thank you for watching, and on behalf of Bahrain International Television, Happy Eid.